The VAR Show, the one place for your weekly football update.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the VR show. Today we have two Chelsea fans. We were supposed to have an Arsenal fan with us today, but unfortunately I don't know why he has not come and he's hiding or something. Maybe we'll have him in between. Whatever. So today we are going to discuss about the Premier League. It is going to start after a long time and hopefully everyone will enjoy it. So we have Bittu Mohammed down, who's down here, at least for my screen he's down. And Ayan on my left, I guess. I don't know from which angle you're watching, but he's on the top beside me, in my screen at least. So both are Chelsea fans, and so of course we'll start with Chelsea first. Okay, Chelsea have not signed Timo Werner yet, but what do you think of Chelsea's approach to signing Timo Werner? Like anyone can start.
Okay. Approach as in?
What do you think? In every sense, in the sense that approach as in, is it a good signing? And also, there were talks about Roman Abramovich leaving, and is this a statement of intent that he's staying back? What is it, like, according to you? Whoever is speaking here, please go ahead.
Okay. Fine. Timo Werner, I would say, see, on paper, though, it looks like a very good signing. Everyone's excited. Okay, definitely. Because he publicly had made it clear that he wanted to join Liverpool. Okay, so in a way, you could say Lampard had already given up on him. Okay, in fact, now what I from the sources that I read from, what I got to know is Lampard wanted to sign Aubameyang. Okay, I would say very much would like to win a trophy for a change. Okay, and might have wanted to join Chelsea, but because in a way you could say Lampard did not have any hope of signing Werner because Werner had publicly made clear that he wanted to join Liverpool. Okay, so in that way, I don't know how they managed it. Maybe no one else triggered his release clause, considering the fact that it is still a coronavirus situation. Okay, no clubs want to shell out money at this point. It's a lot of people are taking pay cuts. They are having to, the normal ground staff, doctors, all these salaries. Okay, take up a lot. Okay, when clubs are having a tough time managing this, how will they arrange more money unless you take out a big loan? Okay, and most of the big clubs that we know are already in big debts. Okay, taking big loans does not make any sense to them. So in that situation, you can say I don't know how Chelsea, but they managed to trigger his release clause. What I'm here every day, I'm hoping that tomorrow will be the day they'll confirm it. But then what I'm getting to hear is they're not confirming because nor if Timo Werner flies to London to complete his medical, he has to stay in a 14-day quarantine. Even if the Chelsea doctors fly to Germany, vice versa, they have to stay in a 14-day quarantine. So I don't know what, the conclusion is not happening. So yeah, so far that is what I know.
Ayan to say. Okay, like Ayan, you can say something, but again, you are talking on hypothetical because apparently June, I don't know, July 15th or I don't know, some of this day is the last day for his release clause. If you do not activate it, maybe it goes off. So do you think it will be a hindrance or something?
See, if it goes off, then you can say, I follow a page on Instagram. Okay, they normally follow Chelsea very closely. Okay, they have apparently have people in the inside who can give them direct news or some kind of progress news. So apparently, what they have been posting on their page is that there's nothing the club can do to fast forward this. It is the situation is such that no matter what they do, the situation is going to stay like this. Okay, so now it can go either way. Either one way, the Chelsea might not get to sign him at all. Okay, Leipzig might pounce on the opportunity. Now, if you want him, the release clause date has passed. You have to pay more. That can be one scenario. Another scenario, if Leipzig takes a back foot and they accept everything, and they say they'll take a pay cut, not exactly the amount that they were promised in the release clause, but slightly lesser. Okay, so that they can use that funds to buy maybe somebody and start preparing. So either of that two things will happen.
So what about you, Ayan? What do you say about this full fiasco?
Bittu very much spoke about the transfer from the outside. Now, if I like to talk about him as a player, Timo Werner is really good from the left, and sometimes he's used also as a striker. Like even when he's used as a striker, he likes to go towards the left hand side. And if at all he comes to Chelsea, I hope he comes to Chelsea. He will be used as a second striker, I think, to Tammy Abraham, and he will also give good competition to Pulisic, because Pulisic will obviously be our choice on the left. So it'll be competition for any team is good. So I think he'll be a good signing, and he'll suit the Premier League style, his pace and everything. He'll give a tough time to the defenders in the Premier League.
See, for me, I think if Timo Werner comes, that means that is the end of Tammy Abraham at Chelsea, and even they're being linked to Kai Havertz. I don't know how much of it is true, and
Yes.
that is again a
Yes.
rumor.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know how much of it's a rumor that Roman Abramovich himself has gone on to speak to Kai Havertz. I don't know if it's true, but I saw it somewhere. This also
When
floating around. So if they get them, then like who's going to sit out? Because I know you have Willian and Pedro leaving, but still you have Tammy Abraham, and you have to shift out Batshuayi also. No, like, he got removed. I think he got Lampard removed him from the training session or something. I don't know
Yeah.
recently. So okay, you have to remove him. He's on high wages. Then you have the 4 players. You have Hakim Ziyech also, who's coming.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether that will hinder Mason Mount, and like you have few youngsters also. Like I think Dujon Sterling, who's on loan, who's good. So you have few of them. Do you think like it's a sensible move, to go for Kai Havertz as well for Chelsea when they have bought already Hakim Ziyech, who plays kind of similar position, like what Timo Werner and Hakim Ziyech offer individually. Kai Havertz may be a mold of those two players. So do you
Yeah.
think it'll be a sensible move to buy instead of maybe strengthening somewhere in the left back position?
Left back is the priority. I would say before Timo Werner, anybody, they would have firstly strengthened the left back. Okay, they tried half the season with Alonso. They tried half the season with Emerson. They're not getting the output that I think they want. Okay, Ben Chilwell, what I have been hearing, the price is a lot. I don't know if it is practical to go after such a pricey left back. Okay, the other alternatives of Tagliafico from Ajax is quite good, what I've heard. Okay, apparently even Alex Telles, his release clause is substantially way lesser. So yeah, those moves make most sense. Okay, Havertz is you could say a far-fetched theory. Okay, now he's not just a player that we are interested in. There are multiple way bigger clubs interested in him. What I'm hearing, even Bayern is interested. Okay, and even Madrid is interested. So yeah, you could say in a way that we are at a back foot when it comes to Kai Havertz. And like last time when you spoke, I speak very practically when it comes to transfers. I'm very realistic. When I'm not like Manu fans, when they link themselves to a player, they already start making the jerseys beforehand. Okay, I kind of analyze before, all the money, a lot of things involved. So in that way, I don't see Kai Havertz transfer going through. Okay, Jadon Sancho, I would say I would have liked to see it, like I told you last time. But then again, it's too much money. I don't think it's possible. Okay, so yeah, I think we will end up signing a left back. Okay, I don't know who it's gonna be, but then left back, and probably I think they might at the end just go for one more centre back. That's all. That's where I see Chelsea's transfer window ending. Nothing more than that. Okay, we can be linked to 10,000 players between here now and then. Okay, people will be excited, but then as again, I'm not a Manu fan. I'm a practical Chelsea fan.
So like Ian, what do you think? What should be the realistic transfer target for Chelsea? Like Bittu said, like you should have a left back, and probably a cheaper one, because already if you spend so much on Warner, you are not good. Like, and it's a very difficult season, and you have already got a transfer embargo in the previous season. So like this will only add up, because you cannot add up the funds, because you don't have gate receipts coming, which will be a lot. I don't see Chelsea winning the Champions League or the Premier League this season, which is again going to be, like substantial amount of money you are missing out. So, who would be the most, like realistic target, maybe on a left back, or that you should target, according to you?
According to me, as Bittu said, Alex Telles will be a very good option for Chelsea. He's a very good left back, pacey, and then he can go up front also as a full back. And then there's this Valencia guy, Valencia left back. I'm forgetting his name. If you all could help me out.
Gaia.
Gaia, no, I think Gaia. So they were targeting him also. There was some news, some chatter 2 months back that they may go for Gaia too. So yeah, these two options seem good, and if we can get Ben Chilwell instead of Havertz, like whatever money we spend on, like if at all they're going for Havertz, I feel they shouldn't do that, and go for Chilwell instead, because he'll be a very good option on the left.
Moving on from that, this is again an open question, and like I do not know. It depends. I think what each one thinks. What is a realistic target for Chelsea next season?
According to me, it'll be at like first or second spot in the Premier League, and at least the Champions League semi-finals. Keeping in mind that this is just Lampard's second season, and then he's getting new players. They need time to settle in. Yeah.
What about you, Bittu? What do you think? What do you think? Is realistic?
My stance is still the same like last time I told you, that for next season we should be finishing strong. I don't think first. Okay, if we finish strong, if we finish second, very good. Okay, but we should definitely be finishing in the top four very comfortably. That should be the aim. Okay, without any problem, without waiting for the last few matches, we should be short be there in a position where when other teams can accept that yes, Chelsea is going to finish in the top four. That should be the aim. Okay, and yes, a decent Champions League campaign. We should not be embarrassed, humiliated by getting kicked out in the group stage after spending so much money. Okay, a decent Champions League campaign. Okay, and a very strong finish to the Premier League campaign. That should be the realistic goal. And in the meanwhile, if we can aim for FA Cup or the League Cup, okay, that would be very good, I would say. Then you would have set a proper benchmark, okay, to now aim for the next thing. You can't just one day come in and decide that I'll win the Premier League tomorrow. It doesn't happen. Okay. So even when Conte had done it, when he came in one season and he won it, he kind of already had a Mourinho's Premier League winning team there. So all he did is a little shuffle, and yes, it clicked. But then everyone knows how it turned out to be the next season. Everyone understood what Conte is doing. Okay, he introduced Italian game into the Premier League. No one understood in the first season. Next season, everyone did, and it did not click. Same way, Premier League is not one in one fine day you just decide you'll win. You'll have to build a team, set realistic goals. Okay, see, I'm not again how many fans think that next season is going to be our season. Okay, I don't think like that. Even next season is not going to be Chelsea's season. Okay, but yes, I want Chelsea to have a very strong campaign, which is the main aim. They should not be getting humiliated with small teams. Okay, and finishing strongly. Yes, that should be the realistic aim.
According to me, Lampard's team next season should make a good statement, like at least win the trust of the fans with these new players coming in. Lampard should they should show that they have settled in, and they should put in good performances against the bigger sides next season. And yeah, as Bittu said, first or second will be a realistic target. If not first, then at least second.
So definitely that would be the next season target. But there is an equal chance that you may not even qualify for the Champions League next season, because the race for the fourth position is quite tough this season. And if United any of the top between fourth to I think sixth, anyone can actually realistically join the other three candidates in the Champions League. So what do you think, Chelsea, even Timo Werner has not signed yet. Most it's highly that Chelsea will sign him, but is it like they are waiting for Chelsea to maybe qualify for the Champions League and then he signs or something?
I don't think so. That is the case in this. Okay, Timo Werner's one, I think it's still the same. That due to the quarantine laws, he's not being able to. So what I've heard is this is the news. I don't know how much of it is true. I just read it last night, that he has backed out from the current Champions League campaign of Leipzig, in which, in fact, he could continue because he's not liable to play for Chelsea in this Champions League season. He could have continued there, play the Champions League season with them, and maybe, who knows, strong finish. If you get, like everybody knows, Champions League, you have to be the winner on that day. You don't have to be the winner on every single day. So So if you're on the winner on that day, who knows? They might have get easy draws, reach the semi-final. Who knows, even final? You never know how it works out. But he's opted out from that. Okay, that's what I've been reading, that he's opted out to continue in the current campaign. Okay, so that's what I've been I've read that he wants to come to England as soon as possible, start preparing. Okay, so yes, I don't think Champions League would be the factor that is delaying his transfer. So for me, strongly it is the quarantine laws itself that's delaying. Okay, and finishing on the top four, yes, I am scared as a Chelsea fan that we might not finish top four, because seeing how we have been doing, at least from January onwards, is all of a sudden lose a game, or all of a sudden start drawing, don't score at all. Okay, so as a Chelsea fan, of course, seeing how unstable we have been in the past season, I am still very nervous. We are in a good position, but not very comfortable. Okay, if we do continue at least a decent run of games, we should be holding on to the spot, Champions League spot. If we play stupid, okay, if we do Arsenal on ourselves, then we know where we'll land.
What about you, Ian? What do you think? Do you think Lampard will get sacked if he doesn't finish in top four?
No, he's not gonna get sacked if he doesn't finish in the top four, because he was given that, as Bittu spoke in his last video, he was given that option to survive this season, and then next season will be his examination, and if he fails that, then there'll be consequences.
No, because I'm saying the sack part, because is Chelsea currently have, I think, 48 points, and I think Tottenham and Arsenal have 41 and 40, and one of your, if not the most important player of the team, N'Golo Kante, I think he's not going to play for quite some time. Or is he playing?
He's ready. He's ready. He's training.
Okay, he's come back. Then it's highly possible. But there are chances that you may, if everything goes in the worst condition, you may come down to 6th, 7th. So it's kind of an insult, because if Abramovich is spending the likes of Werner, and if you're being linked to Kai Havertz, that means you have big plans. You wouldn't want to be playing in Europa League, right?
Keeping in mind that City is not playing the Champions League next season, so even the 5th spot qualifies for the Champions League from the Premier League, and then there are only 9 games left, and from those 9 games, Chelsea will at least will have to win at least 4 to qualify for the Champions League. So I feel they can. And as Bittu spoke about Chelsea's form before the lockdown, it was bad because many of our players were injured, like Pulisic, who was in a very good run, and then he got injured, and then Tammy Abrahams got injured 2 games before the lockdown. So all those things added up to the bad form against Bournemouth before the lockdown, and then against the team we played before, Everton. But the game against Everton was really good. We saw the team returning. Giroud was in a very good form. So I hope that form continues now after the lockdown, after the restart of the Premier League, and hopefully, we will qualify for the Champions League. Keeping in mind that City doesn't qualify for the Champions League next season.
So I'll speak of the remaining game that is left. You all have, I think, Liverpool and Leicester City, and I don't know whom do you have from top 4. Yeah, these 2 and Sheffield United, which are in the top half. And rest of the games are generally with the relegation candidates, which I would say is more difficult than maybe with the top half people in this time of the year. What do you think? Which game can be slippery? For Chelsea, which will be the hardest opponent?
Okay. So, see, always playing with a team that is fighting relegation is very difficult. Firstly, they are playing for their lives. They're not playing for Champions League football or anything. The difference between one league, the moment you go from Premier League to League 2, you're basically losing out on roughly 100 million pounds, not dollars, 100 million pounds, approximately that much of income. So just imagine how much of money that is. So you're just because you might not perform well in the last few matches, your 100 million pounds for your club is going to be decided on that. So imagine Premier League relegation clubs play with that much ferocity. So the matches that I see, Chelsea have a away game with Aston Villa, then they have a home game with Man City, away to West Ham. Okay, now let's see. Can you tell me the teams in the relegation right now?
Right now, I think you have
Norwich.
Norwich, Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Watford, West Ham, Brighton, and Southampton. Out of which
So we
Chelsea play West Ham, Watford, Crystal
yes,
Palace, and Norwich.
yes. So we have a away game to West Ham. Now that's difficult. West Ham they play I don't know shitty the entire season, but whenever it comes to London derby, suddenly they become a team that suddenly they have learned tiki taka on one day. Okay, that's West Ham. Now Crystal Palace, yes, that's away. That's always difficult. They have beaten us past in their home ground. Okay. We have a home match with Norwich City. That is one advantage that we have at home. Now the last two matches we have away to Liverpool, and then we have at home to Wolves. So our last two matches, I don't know. I think it's going to go down to the wire till the last matches for us. Our last match is going to decide whether. And as of now, if we don't capitalize on the next few games, the last two matches will literally be the writing on the wall for us to get kicked out from the Champions League spots. Okay, because at that point there's no point fighting over whether we'll qualify or not. If in these matches we don't, in the next few matches if we don't capitalize, then 100% we are not going to get the fourth spot. And now it depends on how Man City's appeal with the CAS court goes, like how we appeal to the CAS court and we got the ban for one transfer window, and for the next transfer window the ban was removed. You never know how it will go with Man City, because I don't know if, because at the end of the day this court is consisted of people and people run on money, and money is not something Man City is short on. Okay, so if people are too excited already that Man City is out, so I don't know. So far they have always escaped the FFP regulations. Okay, it won't be a miracle, it won't be shocking if they escape another one.
So what about you, Ian? Which one do you think is the most difficult game left according to you, or which can be a banana skin?
Actually, all the games I see here are, seem to be tricky, seem to be very tricky. But as Bittu said, Chelsea has to capitalize on the ones they can, like the one against West Ham. Though it is a London derby, I think Chelsea should, perform well against West Ham, and then the one against Watford. These two games they should capitalize on. The one against Crystal Palace, because Crystal Palace are not fighting for anything because they're in the mid-table and they're safe. All teams below them are fighting for the relegation. Are fighting the relegation battle. So again against Crystal Palace, it's a derby, so they have to play well. Sheffield is obviously a very confusing and tricky game. And Norwich, again, at the end of the season, they'll be fighting the relegation battle. But since it's at home, to be honest, right now with no fans, this home and away advantage doesn't matter. So I think,
Hello?
honestly, I don't know. All games seem tricky, and the last two, especially with the first fixture against Wolves, we performed really well. We won the game, I think 5-2. So yeah, let's see. All games seem tricky now that I look at the fixtures.
So on that note, I think I have to end this session. I think the Arsenal fan is not joining, with us today. I don't know why he's not joining. Maybe he's too excited for the Manchester City game. You never know, okay. So maybe hopefully next time he joins in, and maybe we can even have the angry rant man over here in a all Chelsea fashion.
I would love to have him here.
If he replies to my text, that is, he doesn't reply to my text, that is a different thing. But yeah, if he replies, you can have him over here and maybe decide, and he'll be a all Cottonian warfare, I think.
Yes.
Angry Randman is from Cottons.
Yeah.
No,
Everyone is
am I talking about this? Am I talking about the same Angry Randman as you?
Yeah.
The guy who shouts on Facebook.
Yeah.
He's Cottonian.
Yeah, the one who keeps abusing, right? Yeah, that guy. So
Your badge.
No, I think it's my junior. But Angry Ant-Man, if you're seeing, it's an open challenge. Like, we have a Arsenal fan who's from Cottons who wants to challenge you. That is John Casey. So if you have the guts, come on the show.
And to be honest, guys, tonight the Sheffield versus Aston Villa match is going to be more interesting than that Arsenal versus
I love
City
Arsenal
game.
fan.
For sure.
So okay, I'll just touch on the topic of Arsenal. Do you think Arsenal can beat City tonight?
No way.
Let's be realistic. Like
Let's be realistic.
Lala, I know you like being
Let's not act
hopeful,
like
but
Manu and
please be realistic.
No,
You've watched
because
so many years of football.
No, because everyone keeps saying that Mikel Arteta is the brain behind Guardiola. I don't know how much of it is true, but Arsenal fans are definitely hyping that up. So, do you think Arteta can mastermind a victory over Pep?
just by going, just looking at the stats here, 17 goals. City has scored 17 goals in the last 7 games against Arsenal. Okay, and Arsenal have won only one game in the last 8 at Etihad. So I don't think it's possible.
What about you, BT? Do you think Aubameyang can do something?
I'd rather not comment. Everyone knows what's going to happen anyway.
So, okay,
And-
on that note, hopefully Arsenal wins, and maybe because it will be a good music to the ears of Liverpool fans, because if Arsenal wins, it will be just they can win the title this week. So let's see what happens. We never know. Hopefully, let's see what happens.
God forbid.
Yes, this
God
is the
forbid
day.
only
Now-
another. Yep,
This is the day we all have been waiting for. Liverpool fans are cheering for Arsenal.
No, but Arsenal, I think they are capable of winning. Like, I'm not saying they'll win the league, but like an off day. Like, I'm not saying on the genius of Arteta, but Aubameyang will score a goal because you have City players who will be rusty themselves. And Aubameyang is someone who will score a goal every other game. So I think in that way maybe it can be a surprise. I do not know. Hoping it will be an entertaining game for the neutral.
I hope so.
Definitely.
Arsenal has Aubameyang who can score goals, and that's only one player. City has 11 players who can score goals.
No, City also have Mustafi, David Lewis. City have all the players on their side.
So
Okay, in that case, City has at least 15 players who can score goals.
so on that note, I think I have to end it over here. I think too much of abuse is going on of Arsenal, and I think I have the free
I would
version
like to
of
add one more
Zoom.
thing.
Yeah, say me.
I would like to add this also that God forbid only another pandemic can stop Liverpool from winning the Premier League.
Yeah, hopefully the other fans can join hands together and pray for another pandemic. That is up to the fans' beliefs and superstitions. So
Man U and Everton fans can.
yeah, definitely. So I think I have to wrap up here because I have a free version and I have only 6 minutes. It's showing me, so I have to wrap it up
Okay.
here. So on that note, we'll talk again, and hopefully we have our other friend John Casey, Arsenal fan, on the show, and also probably the Angry Rant Man. So on that note, take care. Bye.
Bye. Nice talking to you.